You sleep 8 hours. You eat well. You exercise. And somehow, by 2 in the afternoon, you feel like you have already been drained dry. Your body is fine. The tests say so. But you know that something is leaving you, and you do not know where it goes. There was a man named Kenji who worked in silence. Not a loud life, no visible strain, no long nights. He woke early. He moved carefully. He finished what he started. From the outside, he looked disciplined. Inside, he was running on something that was almost gone. One afternoon, his teacher watched him eat. Kenji ate quickly, completely, until nothing remained. The teacher set his own bowl down, a little food still inside, and said nothing. Kenji noticed. "You stopped early," he said. The teacher looked at him calmly. "I stopped at the right time, before the need." Kenji did not understand what that had to do with anything. The teacher told him to rest the following day, not to prepare for it, not to earn it, simply to stop. Kenji agreed because he respected the teacher. He took the afternoon. He slept through the night. He left his work untouched. He woke the next morning and sat at his desk and could not begin. Not because he was still tired, because something darker had moved in. A low, persistent dread. The feeling of a man who had looked away from a fire and found it already spreading. He went to the teacher. "I rested exactly as you told me," he said. "It made everything worse." The teacher was quiet for a moment. "Your body rested," he said. "But what did your mind do while your body slept?" Kenji had no answer. He knew what his mind had done. It had kept running, counting what was unfinished, measuring the distance between where he stood and where he thought he should be. He hadn't rested at all. He had only stopped moving. The Japanese have a phrase, hara, hachi. It means, eat until you are 8 parts full. The teaching comes from Okinawa, where it was practiced not as a method of dieting, but as a form of daily wisdom. Stop before empty, before the need becomes urgent, before the bowl has nothing left to give. This principle can reach further than food. It applies to effort, to attention, to will. Not because the samurai said so, but because the body already knows it. You do not refuel at empty. Stopping at 80% is not weakness. It is the act that makes tomorrow possible. There is another word, karoshi, death from overwork. Not a metaphor. A medical diagnosis. Named because Japan watched bodies keep going past the point of return. The distance between hara hachi and karoshi is not a matter of hours. It is a relationship with stopping. One is the discipline of pausing before the need. The other is what happens when that discipline is never learned. Kenji spent several days thinking about what the teacher had asked. One morning he was writing, mid-sentence, when he set his brush down to reach for something and paused, his hand still in the air, the room very quiet. He noticed he was already gone. Not his hand, not his body. His attention, already somewhere ahead of him, already in the next task, the next hour, the next problem that hadn't arrived yet. He was still moving. And he had already left. He thought of the teacher's bowl, not empty, not abandoned, set down before the need. He sat with his hand still in the air for one more breath. Then he placed it in his lap and chose what to do next. He had always pushed past this moment. He had believed that pushing past it was the point. It was not. You are not failing at rest. You are attempting to rest at empty, and there is nothing left to work with. The samurai did not wait until the sword arm gave out before they stopped. They stopped at 80%, because that is still a choice. Here is where to begin. 1. Once today, before you feel tired, stop what you are doing and ask, am I at 80% or have I already passed it? You do not need to answer immediately. Just learn to ask the question before empty arrives. 2. When you sit down to eat, leave something in the bowl, not as discipline, as practice. The habit of stopping before empty must live in the body somewhere before it can live anywhere else. 3. At the end of the day, find one thing you chose not to finish. Not because you couldn't, but because there was enough. Write it down. Name it a decision, not a failure. You are not trying to do less. You are learning to stop while stopping is still a choice. What would change if you stopped at 80% instead of empty? Tell me in the comments. Thank you for being here. Somewhere in a quiet room, a bowl sat on a table with a little left inside. Not abandoned, not forgotten. Set down before the need, because the man who placed it there understood something about what it means to have enough left for tomorrow.